got her drilled out. And the second time in my life I've ever had an easy out work, and thank God it did work. So now, yeah, it looks like there might be some traces of, they put something on that screw to hold it in place. A lot of work, and now I got to buy 2 new screws to replace this one and the one that's chewed up a little bit. So now you can see it's got some leaf debris and some discoloration on the inside. It's pretty white, so I'll go around and work on the other side now. I'm in a better mood. If I had to have drilled that bolt out all the way, I would have not. Okay, I've got that screw out, as you saw in that video, and I'm going to come up with another change on the way to put that back together. I think I found a fix. I'm not going to spend, I looked at my parts manual and they're $5 a screw, and I'm not going to replace them. I'm going to go to something else and see what comes of that. I'm going to continue on with the servicing. I've got the filters off and I've blown them out. They didn't seem to, most of the stuff seemed to be around the periphery. I'm going to go over, I used a vacuum and a leaf blower on the inside here to force out stuff. I didn't really see much coming out. I'm going to go over and borrow my neighbor's air system and see whether or not I get anything more out when I use pressurized air in it. So the filters I think are okay for the moment. I'm going to go into the front suspension now and do a couple tests down there. Okay, one of the things we need to do on this 4,000 mile is give the, I've got the front end jacked up again, and I can't feel any flex or movement in the head bearings, so they're okay. The other thing I want to check now is they talk for the run out of the wheel to see whether it's, you know, if you've hit a curb or something, whether it's moving this way or in and out this way. So you want to counter it over to a stop on one side and just kind of spin it along and look down along the edge of the tire. It's not like having a dial gauge set up, but it looks pretty good this way. And if you look on the outer part of the rim here, I don't notice any ups or downs. And the tire is fairly smooth too. Also at this time, go up underneath with your light or your flashlight or whatever and check the hoses, the brake hoses on the front. Check the speed sensor cable. Get out your tools and start checking for tightness of all these bolts and nuts and things around here. It's just a cursory thing to see if there's anything loose. So let me go ahead and do this and we'll come back with something else. Okay, another thing you want to do too is take a rag and clean around the bearing seals. Never let oil or grease or dirt build up around in there, because what happens is you get a little bit of weepage in there, starts collecting dust, and the dust gets underneath the little lip that holds tight, that keeps the grease and everything in. It starts lifting up and then the stuff comes out again. So keep it clean, wipe it down, keep an idea of what, and look while you're looking for all the cracks in any of the brake lines. Look for leaks, drips, wet areas, loose wires, frayed wires, any of that stuff. So we'll go on to another part now. Everything was nice and tight. The brakes, check out the brakes, make certain that your pads are the thickness that they should be. 4,000 miles, there's, you know, it's a few miles on it, but depending on whether you're an aggressive braker or not, I'm not. I'll take my time to slow down, so my brakes still got a lot of wear in them left. So onward and upward. Okay, like I said, we want to check around up inside here. Check for weepage around the, let me get over here, around the columns. You want to make certain that your fork tubes are clean. You're not getting any weeping around here. That's one of the other leak checks you're going to do, both sides. When you wash your bike, when you wash your T-Max, make certain that this is always clean. There's no road crud build up around this seal here. Okay, this is another area where you need to feel the bearings. Just kind of rotate it around. At the same time, check for tire wear. Since this one has a little bit of drag in it, it's hard to check for a run out. But I'd say pick a spot on the axle here and then squint down it and look to see If there's any variation, I don't really see any because I haven't run into any curbs or hit any big rocks or any road debris or whatever. If you have done some of that, then you want to check your wheels to make certain they're true. Run out this way seems to be fine too. This is another place where you want to keep your seals clean. Keep the dust off of them. It's a little harder to get to the one on the silent chain side. It's hidden back in there pretty good, so you're not going to. The only way you're going to clean it is if you take it apart. So just make certain it's clean. You don't get a buildup of junk on it. Bearings feel good. Normally you would get maybe some rough spots, clicking sounds. Feels smooth. 4,000 miles, it shouldn't have any problems now. Also get out the big gun wrenches and start checking for the bolt that holds the shock in. And then go down and start checking the bolts that hold the two rear suspension halves together. Make certain they're tight. Same thing with the kickstand and the center stand. Make certain that all those bolts are tight too. Part of the 4,000 mile check for everything. Okay, the other thing you want to be doing now too is checking out the fuel lines running around. Make sure there's no leaks or cracks or anything like that. Just looking for leaks in the cooling system. Make certain that the little clamps and stuff that they have around are tight and there's nothing rubbing on each other to where you're starting to get some abrasion on one part that may be touching a sharp edge or whatever. If you do see something like that, either move it back to where it should be or else protect it so you don't get broken down on the road. So I'm going to sort out the fuel line now, and then I got to figure out where the crankcase, breather, hoses, and all that stuff goes. But I'll have to go look at the service manual first. So we'll be back. Okay, as far as the crankcase breather system go, there's a hose that comes off of the valve cover up here that winds its way around and then comes in to the bottom of the air box here. So that's about the only thing I could find, and all the hoses that are going around for the cooling system and everything seem to be fine. I can't find anything wrong, so we'll go on with something else. The other things it says to do is to apply some silicone grease underneath the pivot bearing or the pivot shaft here on both sides, and so I've got my cloth underneath of it, and I'm using some aerosol that thickens up after it's. I think maybe I'm going to go back to using regular grease and just dab a little bit in there. That's about all you have to do. And then there's a little 10mm nut that goes on the bottom and holds it all in place. And then make sure you wipe everything up before it sets. Okay, we've taken the, where are we at here? 2 screws out to hold the cover on for the throttle housing, and the switches are back in here, and somewhere along the line, okay, here we go. Here's the throttle cable ends, and I guess I'm going to have to take this apart. I don't want to. See how this thing's going. Let me come back.